Hello and welcome back to the Julia the Knitter podcast. This is episode 13, and if you are brand new, hi there, welcome, and welcome back to anybody who has returned to come see us again. This is a podcast mainly about knitting and any crafty endeavors that I happen to get into in my day-to-day life. I am coming to you from Queens, New York, where I live with my handsome husband, my two crazy kids, and my wild beast of a dog. And if you were lucky enough to catch last episode, you got to see my two crazy kids, and you guys seem to enjoy it. So maybe they'll be back, not today. So today you just have me. So it's been about 3 weeks, I think, since I last recorded. Life has been a little busy because it's May. It's the end of the school year for the kids, and what else? My husband's birthday, Mother's Day, my anniversary, all kinds of good things. But it's just been keeping us all very busy around here. So what else? What else have I been up to? Not much. I'm in a little bit of a different spot, as you see. It's like a jungle here. I've got a tomato plant growing behind me. At our apartment complex, we are not really supposed to have vegetables growing outside. So we are growing tomatoes inside this year, and we'll see how that works. I love homemade vegetables. Homemade, homegrown, you know how it goes. But let's jump into the meat and the potatoes of this week's episode. So I have a finished object for you guys today. Well, it's mostly finished. I just haven't sewn the buttons on. Otherwise, it's done. You saw the last time we spoke, this was just a little bit of sleeves. Today, you have before you a full-fledged little cardigan for a little girl who was just born about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Her name is Athena, and she is the new little girl belonging to my husband's coworker, who's a good friend of ours. The pattern itself is by Maria Monska, who is of the Stitched in Sweden podcast. If you are not familiar with her, she's got a really nice podcast. It's so calm. I'm just looking for the name of it, flipping through my pattern sheets here. Little Hearts Yoked Cardigan. And it's just a sweet little cardigan. Little Hearts Yoked Colorwork Cardigan, sorry, by Maria Monska. My colors are kind of similar now that I look at it. The colors I used, just getting my yarn tags out. My main color here is this creamy white color with speckled with dark purples and light purples and plums and a little touch of pink and a little touch of yellow here and there. It reminded me of irises and springtime flowers when I bought it. It is by Frolicking Feet in their Sailing Horizon colorway. It is a 100% domestic superwash merino. It is a fingering weight yarn, and it's really nice. It was so nice to work with. I really enjoyed it. And my contrasting color here for the hearts is by Araucania yarns in their Huasco. I believe that's the base. The color is number 133 tonals. But it's this nice little tonal pink, and I don't know if it's going to really come up, but it's got little light pinks and dark pinks like a tonal would, and it's just this nice little color work detail in the yoke. And you know, it was just so simple, and it was such a lovely cardigan. And I have, sorry, I'm waiting for a sneeze. My allergies are bothering me a little bit today, so bear with me. It's springtime. I have these 3 little buttons that are going to go on here, and they're actually the same color as the pink hearts, so I think they'll look really lovely. Do I have them handy? I may. Let's see. Do I have them? Oh, they should be right here in this little pouch. I put them in the bottom of my little toolkit. This way I would know where they were, and I wouldn't have to look for them. But of course, as these things go, they're all the way at the bottom, mixed in with stitch markers and darning needles and tape measures and all that. See this little pink buttons. I've got the light behind me, so you're not going to get, I guess, a good glimpse. But they'll look really nice on here. That's not going to go right that spot, but you know, the perfect size, and I happen to have them in my jar O buttons, as we call it around here. But yeah, so this little sweater was so much fun to knit. I might have to knit another one up. I actually have a baby shower to go to, and a few weeks ago, one of my cousins is having a baby. She's expecting a big boy in September. So I've got another baby to knit for. And there you go. I just really like this. I might have to see if I can make a grown-up version of this, because it's just so sweet. It only has the 3 buttons here. If I were to make an adult version, I would have buttons go all the way down. And that's that. I really enjoyed working on that. It was a quick knit, as baby knits tend to be. But since I finished that, I was kind of in a rush to finish that because I wanted to get it done for this new baby. Now I did knit it up in the 9 to 12 month size. I tend to make baby knits big because 1, you never know exactly how big they're going to be when they're born. And 2, you get so much stuff that's 0 to 3 months and they outgrow it before you know it. So I make them big, so this way they have time to grow into them. And I mean, by the time this little girl needs a sweater, it's pretty warm. It's in the high 80s today here in New York. You don't need a sweater in this weather. By the time the cooler weather comes around, this little girl will be starting to fit into that. So that'll be nice. I'll sew those buttons on, and I'll be able to get that off to our friends for their little girl. But since I did finish that, I've been able to work on some whips that have just been sitting, waiting for some love for a little while. And I have a little bit of progress on them to show you. So, before you all tell me that I don't knit enough for my husband, I have started. I've told you guys this some time ago, but I haven't talked about it in a while because it's just been kind of sitting, waiting for some love. I am working on the Knitter's Dude sweater, and this is a pattern by Andrea Rangel. Yes, Andrea Rangel. And if you guys know the movie The Big Lebowski, you'll know that this sweater is very reminiscent of the Dude's sweater. And my husband is a huge fan of The Big Lebowski. I mean, seriously, how could you not be? But my husband's not a small man, and that's okay. I like him that way. That means there's a lot of knitting that goes into sweaters. So the last time we spoke, I'm knitting my sleeves 2 at a time, which might not have been my best move because with all the color work that goes on in here, it's a lot of tangling. So I can't wait to be done with the sleeves, so I'm not working with 4 strands of yarn at a time. But last time you saw this rather, I was here. So I've gotten quite a few inches done on each of the sleeves. It looks like I'm getting a little bit of puckering here where the color work is, but I think that'll all block out. The main color is Oyster Heather, I believe. Where's my color? I have it right here. Yes, Oyster Heather in Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. The brown contrasting color is also Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in Chestnut. And the black is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in Coal. So that's that. I'm knitting it up. I'm doing the color work on size 7 needles because down here, I don't know if you can tell, but the color work really pulled in the knitting a lot. So I'm finding that it doesn't do that as much on the 7s. And that's recommended in the pattern itself, and I thought that was a really clever tip. I wouldn't have thought to do that, to be honest. But I'm working on the sleeves now. They are very sleevey. On me, they are pretty big, but I believe I may be a little bit past halfway on the sleeves. So that's that. That's the Knitter's Dude sweater. I really enjoyed picking that back up this week. I I enjoy working color work. I don't love untangling all the yarn in this, but I've been enjoying the relaxation of it, if you will. I'm umming a lot today, I'm sorry. It's a fun project to work on. I've been enjoying it, and I hope to get more work on it this week. It's been really hot the last few days, so a very big, heavy, hot sweater is not the ideal project for this weather, but the evening when we have our AC on in our living room as we're watching movies, I think I could probably get a bit. I'd love to get these sleeves finished this week. I've mentioned before that this is the first sweater that I will ever be doing steeking on. I've never done it. So if you guys have any tips or methods not to lose your mind and make yourself a crazy person, steeking is cutting your knitting, please share them and let me know. And that's that project. The second project that I've had on the needles for quite some time, but kind of fell on the back burner, is the Impressionist Mystery Knit Along by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. This pattern's been out for a while. It's not so much of a mystery anymore, so I'm not going to worry about showing you guys what I've got. I don't feel like I'm really spoiling anything. I will say that the yarns that I'm working on, I bought a kit for this project, but it's a Lofty Loops yarn is the name of the company, and they are small batch hand-dyed yarn created in the Midwest. She comes from Lincoln, Nebraska. And this is her Lofty sock base, which is an 80% Superwash Merino, 20% nylon, and it was a kit based on like a lotus flower painting. So there's a dark, medium, and a light. And I am nearly done with Clue 2. So my yarn out of the way. Here's the top, and it starts out with this right side showing us. I've got the light behind me, so I hope this shows up nicely. It's this nice creamy white, and it's got all these speckles of pinks and a little light blue and orange and dark magentas, a little dark purple in there, and then the medium color is this sky blue. I would say it even sometimes reminds me of crocuses. You can probably see the color down here because it's got a little bit of a purple into it, but again it has these warm speckles in there with pinks and things like that, and then there's this darker blue, which I have a stripe here. It's not that much different. I guess it's showing up differently here. It's a darker version of the light blue, and it has very few speckles. So actually, if you see them all next to each other, they look very different. So this is my light color. See, it's got all these really nice warm speckles. The yarn actually is really nice to work with. It's soft and it feels good. This is my medium color. I don't know, it reminds me of crocuses. Crocuses and irises. And this is my dark color. It's just a darker blue. It's got much more muted speckle with a little bit of the pinks in there, so they kind of they go together very nicely. You can see that they're related. You know what I mean? You know, like when you look at cousins and you can tell they're related. But that's that. I've really been enjoying working on this shawl pattern. I did mention it was a mystery knit along. It's not so much a mystery. All the clues have been released for a few weeks at this point. I'm pretty behind in it, and that's fine with me. I'm not really in any rush to get it finished. It's really nice. It's this nice squishy garter stitch. I think is going to look absolutely gorgeous when it's done. And so far it's got these little rows of eyelets, and then it's moving into this lace section here, the first lace section on the bottom. I've got a lot of stitch markers in, I'm sorry. There's a lot of repeats of this pattern. Repeat. But it's been really relaxing, and it's such a lightweight pattern that it's okay in this hot weather. It's nice to work on. So I hope to get more of that together this week. Like I said, what I have? A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have maybe about 10 rows left in clue 2, and then that will bring me up to the 52% mark of the shawl in its entirety. So then there's clue 3, which clue 3 has a little bit more lace going and brings all the colors back in. And then there's clue 4, which is a few rows towards the bottom and a nice picot bind off. I like the way a picot bind off looks. I don't always like knitting a picot bind off, because sometimes it's just a pain. You know what I mean? To keep my language ladylike. I like the finished project. That's why I usually stick with it. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I may just say, screw it, I'm done. Let's just do a plain border. We shall see. I doubt it. I'll probably stick with the picot bind off because it looks really nice. Lots of water. It is so hot today. I finally got my flowers this morning, so I plan on spending my afternoon putting my garden together and making it look very nice. And we've actually been having a really nice few days. My brother and his girlfriend just closed an apartment in the same complex as us, so they are our neighbors. We could walk to their house and we love it. We're so excited. And they stopped by last night. We were out grilling and chatting outside, and today we're going to put our garden together. And I'm just enjoying that we finally have some nice weather here in New York, because for a while, even a few, like 2 weeks ago, it was in the 50s, and we've had a lot of rain, and it's been kind of cool and just not what you expect for near Memorial Day weekend. And now it's Memorial Day weekend, the unofficial beginning of summer here in the States, and I am loving that we have some good weather. This day is supposed to be the nice day of the weekend, and so I want to get my flowers in before it starts raining later on today and tomorrow. That's pretty much all the knitting that I have to talk about. I do have Breeze to talk about. Breeze is the latest publication from Making Stories, and if you recall, they put out their first collection of patterns, Woods, is that the name of it? In the Woods? In November. And this is their second collection, and these patterns are geared more towards warmer weather knitting. It's a lot of linen yarns, linen blends and stuff like that, and sleeveless tops. This one, for example, which is absolutely gorgeous. Short sleeves, and just stuff that you would use more for the spring and the summer when it's warm out. Sleeveless tops, airy shawls. If you haven't gotten your hands on a copy of this, please do. Hannah Lisa from the Hannah on the Road podcast and Verena Kors of the Wool Club are the two creative minds behind Making Stories, and they have just blown me away once again with such a gorgeous collection of patterns. And the way they put the book itself is so nice. The paper is gorgeous, and the photography in here is absolutely beautiful. And I really like that they are so dedicated to, what's the word that I'm looking for? Sustainability. That's their thing. They're all about sustainability, and they use all local yarns. And I don't know, I don't think all their designers are local, but they do a lot of natural wools and stuff like that. And I like that their models are not like these stick figure thin women, because I don't know, I like to see real people in magazines. It's not a magazine or a book, but it's really nice. They have really gorgeous patterns in here. Please go check it out. If you recall, I was a test knitter for the Colorway pullover that is in here also, and I really enjoyed putting that together. I know I mentioned this the last time that they put a book together, but I like that with each pattern, they do a whole page of a designer profile. So they ask the questions like, tell us a bit about yourself. how does sustainability relate to your knitting philosophy, and you know, what do you like to do when you're knitting? What's one of your biggest failures or making failures that you still laugh about? What is your favorite making tool? And I just like that you get to know a little bit about the designer, except more than, you know, a little blurb that is so often the case with patterns. And they talk about the yarn too. They give a profile about the yarn, and they talk to the designer of the yarn itself, and they knit night chat is my favorite little section. Like I said, you know, what do you do when you knit? What's your favorite knitting spot? Challenges that you want to tackle, things like that. And they ask them, you know, how do they get into doing what they do? And I like that. It makes it so much more human, if you know what I mean. But that has been my latest. I've just been really enjoying flipping through that. I hope you guys have been too. I do have one more thing to talk about, and I'm going to go run and get it, so I'm just going to pause you guys real quickly. Alright, and I'm back. So, a little known fact about me is that I also dye yarn. I have an Etsy shop. I don't talk about it on here all that much because I know that there's not really that much in my shop at the moment. For quite some time, I have been working on more supply, and I do currently have maybe 2 skeins of 100% merino yarn. It's about, I would say it's a heavy worsted, maybe an Aran weight, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I dyed it up last summer. I sold a lot of it off to Wool in Brooklyn, where they sell some of the yarn in their shop too. But I have this new base that I I purchased some fleeces from the Long Island, what are they called? I know they changed their name and I always forget what they're called. Long Island Livestock? Now I don't remember if that's their old name or their new name. But I bought a few alpaca fleeces and a wool fleece that was very similar to like a Jacob. And I had them blended, so when I was up at Rhinebeck this past October, I brought my fleeces to the Battenkill Farms booth and did some paperwork with them to have them process the fiber for me, because I've processed fiber before from fleece to yarn, and in all honesty, it's not a process that I love. I do enjoy spinning yarn. I think for me, I don't think I'd be able to spin it and do all the work that's involved with that and make it cost effective, to be honest with you. So I have no problem sourcing that part of it out. But just this past week, I got my yarn skeins back. This is a few skeins all tied together. But this is all, I had them blend the alpaca with the wool. And it's this really gorgeous fingering weight yarn. It's got this little light grayish, brownish grayish color to it. I don't think the color is really coming up that great with the lighting in here. Maybe that's a little better. Okay, but it's got such a nice soft feel to it, and I think this is going to be absolutely gorgeous for shawls, sweaters, socks, you name it. It has such a nice drape. I'm just wearing my yarn here. It's not dyed yet. It will be, and it will be going up in the shop. So I will make sure to let you all know when that does happen. It just feels so soft. I'm really enjoying wearing it. It's going to be really great for next to skin wear and the like. So keep your eye out. It has such a good woolly smell. You can smell the lanolin from the wool, and it smells. You can smell the alpaca too. It smells like wool. Should smell. You know what I mean? It's not 100% wool. It's alpaca too, but you know what I mean. Fresh yarn. How it smells. It smells like animals and sunshine. So keep your eye out for that. I am really excited to be dyeing that up. I haven't dyed yarn in quite some time, so I'm really looking forward to getting back into the yarn kitchen tying up on my kitchen stove. And that's about it. That's all I've got for you guys today. So I hope you all have an excellent Memorial Day weekend. I hope you all kick off your summer joyfully. And that's about it. I'll see you all soon. Bye!